Now hear this.
Just in trouble now, the true troll wow.
Oh, people. Last night I uploaded this video here called Antifa just wants an excuse to commit violence and be applauded for it, and basically it's just a really short clip of Tim Pool here making the point that they say they're punching Nazis, but more often than not, they're not. One of the first comments that I saw is so funny, I have to share it with you folks. Now, I don't know if this is an actual pro-Antifa comment or just satire of pro-Antifa, and you know how the saying goes. It's impossible to distinguish between fascism and parody of fascism. Well, that also applies to just extremism, so that applies to, you know, communists, Nazis, and Antifa, for example. So I don't know if this is real or not, but the fact that we can't tell the difference, the fact that we can't actually determine if this is a joke or if this is an Antifa person being serious, that's very telling. So it's applicable to Antifa. Anyway, let's read this comment. It's from FTW All Day, and it reads,
Question mark, LOL. I know people like you and Tibby,
he means Tim Pool,
thinks this semantics game is quote-unquote clever, LOL.
Actually, as we point out, the semantic game is being played by Antifa, and it's not really a game, because, I mean, game requires a little bit of skill. They're just really ham-handed. They're horrible at it. Anyway, continuing here, it says,
Tim has always been one of the cleverest pathological liars.
Okay, so first he's quote-unquote clever. Now he is one of the cleverest Wow, these people don't really think. He just contradicts, he or she just contradicted themselves in 2 sentences.
Tim has always been one of the cleverest pathological liars, delivering white supremacist talking points directly from Angie Anglin herself.
I don't know who that is, but, you know, I get this often. People, Antifa people say, you're getting your talking points from blah blah blah, and it's just somebody I've never heard of before. Continuing on, it says,
Of course, this all happened after Breitbart management approved or revised the messaging.
I don't know what he means by that. I know who Breitbart is, but whatever.
The facts surrounding the neo-Nazi to Breitbart pipeline fascist laundering scheme, we have you on his mind.
What?
The facts surrounding the neo-Nazi to Breitbart pipeline fascist laundering scheme, we have you on his mind.
Was that? What the hell does that even mean? That's not a real... Wow. Anyway.
There's a damn good reason Robert Mercer,
I don't know who that is,
removed himself from the equation.
Okay.
I'm willing to bet it has a bit more alternate and automated accounts pertaining to social media algorithm doctoring.
What? Maybe it means I'm willing to bet it has a bit more to do with alternate and automated accounts pertaining to social media algorithm doctoring? I don't know. These people are so unhinged.
I would almost guarantee the FBI investigation found its way to the neo-Nazi propaganda laundering operation.
It's like Alex Jones for the left over here. Lizard people are behind everything. Okay then.
Steve Bannon, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Angie Anglin.
Now I know who Steve Bannon is. That's, you know, the Breitbart guy. Milo Yiannopoulos, and I don't know who Angie Anglin is.
I wouldn't doubt it if the Robert Mueller investigation crawled its way right up the ass of some of this white supremacist, artificially inflated content that has dominated YouTube for the past 4 years.
Dominated YouTube, huh? Yeah, sure, FTW. You look into the numbers of YouTube and show me that the more popular videos, that YouTube is dominated by these people. Okay, he continues.
If Timmy,
he means Tim Pool,
has been paying attention, he knows the feds won't hesitate to deliver that subpoena.
Okay.
Timmy was a paid informant. Do I really need to make the comparison to herpes?
What? Okay.
Timmy's Adderall habit.
Timmy's Adderall habit, huh?
Timmy's Adderall habit has done massive amounts of damage to his liver, with all that Adderall necessary to quote-unquote cleverly spin or invert a story.
So, Tim Pool is quote-unquote clever, but also he's one of the most clever. Okay then.
From what I understand, too much methamphetamine has an effect on self-validation. Tim is about as clever as fascist launderers. Get very similar to Carl Benjamin.
You mean Sargon of Akkad. You know, Carl Benjamin is Sargon of Akkad.
And yes, I was being facetious.
Facetious about what? It's really hard to understand what you're even trying to say, you lunatic.
That would only be a compliment if I wasn't the polar opposite of authoritarian personality.
Oh my goodness, it's so funny how these authoritarian collectivists are like, we're against authoritarian collectivism. You know, they don't use that word, they use the word Nazi or fascist, but that's what they're saying. They're saying they're against what they are. They're against collective authoritism, but they are collective authoritarians. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it continues.
Poor little Timmy, shaking my goddamn head. Methamphetamine dependence and most likely repressed guilt have done a number on him.
Done what kind of nice? He's a very, very active person. He makes like 3 videos a day now. You can't do that on methamphetamine. You can put out like just unhinged crap. But his stuff is pretty well researched, well organized. He's very calm. Look, why am I explaining this as if I'm explaining this as if it isn't obvious. I'm just gonna stop making excuses for Tim Pool because, like, you don't need to defend people against outrageous accusations like this, you see, because that which can be asserted without evidence can be refuted without evidence. So there you go, you freaking idiot, FTW. Let's continue his unhinged comment. It says,
delusions of grandeur and denial. I think he has legitimately convinced himself that a sizable portion of his audience aren't white supremacists. Organized alternate account operations.
Okay, yeah, a bunch of white supremacists are pretending to be regular people, and they're all watching Tim Pool, even though Tim Pool fairly regularly denounces them. Okay, then, you fucking idiot. See, people who make comments like this, unless this person's joking, people who make comments like this, they make these comments or whatever, these arguments based on a very, very small data sample of what they're talking about. Usually nothing. Usually they just go on hearsay. You know, you folks may have read about how lately Jordan Peterson was given an apology by one of Canada's top feminist professors, because that professor admitted that he actually didn't expose himself to anything from Jordan Peterson, but rather he believed what other people said about Jordan Peterson. And then after a very long argument with Jordan Peterson, he finally said, okay, well look, I'm sorry about saying stuff about you, Jordan Peterson. I'm going to start watching your stuff or reading your books or whatever it was, and then I'll make a value judgment then. So that's what these people do. They just listen to what other people say, which is, you know, lies about these people, and then they make judgments about those people. Unless this person's just pretending to be an Antifa idiot, which we don't really know. But anyway, it continues.
There are certain pathological liars that are addicted to chemical compounds produce not just the initial compounds creating the rush, but also the compounds creating sensation of guilt on the come down. I don't think Timmy is on the sociopath side of the pathological liar scale. Guilt and the facade of empathy that comes with it.
That's not a real sentence, dude. Guilt and the facade of empathy that comes with it, period.
I would imagine constantly lying and exhausting small amounts of the chemical compound help him forget.
Exhausting? I guess he breathes out small amounts of the chemical compound that helps him to forget? Okay. What the fuck?
That he is well known worldwide among actual activists as a confirmed on-paper Occupy Wall Street paid informant. His delusions of grandeur, LARPing as an investigative journalist with absolutely zero credibility or credentials, pathetically sad, to say the least. Timmy knows who his daddy is. You'll never forget who financed his start as a quote-unquote investigative journalist. LOL.
What?
There are certain things that do not scrub away with soap. Being a paid informant in this one. Being a paid informant in this one, period. Pushing neo-Nazi talking points like clockwork is legitimate grounds for branding Timmy a Nazi. So, to conclude this disorganized sample...
Well, at least they have some awareness. Like, this FTW, you read like you're writing this on methamphetamine, or Adderall, or whatever. Wow. So anyway, continue with the comments.
So to conclude this disorganized sample of a very well-documented connections... Poor little fella, you can tell he is mentally depleted and physically drained. P.S. No apologies made for grammar and his spelling errors.
Who spelled your own spelling errors? Who? What? Wow. FTW, get off the crack, dude. Continuing on, it says,
I don't need to waste time, same when needs to be said to idiots.
What?
I don't need to waste time saying when needs to be said to idiots.
Okay.
Quote-unquote clever individuals will pick up what I'm putting down regardless.
Yeah, quote-unquote clever individuals will pick up what you're putting down. Yeah. In other words, people who think they're clever, who are batshit insane, will read this and just like a Rorschach test, get something out of it. Think they're agreeing with you when they have no idea what you're really saying, because you don't. So yeah, in other words, people who think they're clever might agree with you. They won't know what they're agreeing with, but there you go. So anyway, I replied, your comment is long, but I decided to give it a chance. I read your first sentence, laughed my ass off, and decided that your comment has to be screenshotted and used as an example of typical Antifa bullshit. Good for a lot of laughs. Thanks a lot. So there you go, folks. If you want, you could scroll down, see the link to the video, and then you could scroll down and find this person's comment and, you know, whatever. Comment on the comment. It's amazing stuff. Oh, there you go, folks. Thanks a lot for watching. Peace, love, freedom, and equality.